that it was someone else's fault. Just to think that this whole family is gone now, it's just hard to understand.
It was a young family caught up in a crime they had nothing to do with. A crime that begins in one county, claims 3 innocent victims in another. Life had not been easy for Ryan Colwell, Amber Veras, and their baby daughter, but no one could have imagined this. Good evening, I'm Ken Lass.
And I'm Sherry Jackson. Tonight, as investigators work to put all the pieces of this puzzle in place, several families are shattered and asking why.
We have live team coverage tonight of the robbery and pursuit that claimed these lives and the standoff and arrests of the suspects involved.
In just a moment, more than a victim, Mike McClanahan tells us the personal story of the young family killed Monday night. We begin, though, with the arrests of those police believe are responsible and a standoff in Inslee, where Tiffany Westry is tonight.
Sherry, things in this Inslee neighborhood are back to normal compared to hours ago when dozens of law enforcement officers covered 42nd Street here in Inslee and took one of the men involved in Monday night's fatal hit and run into custody. Now, a standoff between the officers and the suspect left residents in this neighborhood uneasy for more than 2 hours. People coming home for the evening were just told to go inside their homes, lock their doors and windows. One woman said that all she could do was wait and pray.
I was just asking God to cover everybody, and just let people be safe, let no one else get hurt.
Officers raided the house around 5:30, taking the man that you see there in the brown shirt into custody. They do believe that he is involved in Monday night's robbery and fatal hit and run that claimed the lives of a family of 3. And the man you see there in the white shirt being placed into the patrol car is being charged with aiding and abetting. Now, as of right now, police have not released the names of the 2 men that were arrested here earlier this evening.
Now, Tiffany, our understanding is that the second suspect involved in the robbery and the accident was also taken into custody, but at a different location.
Yeah, Sherry, police have confirmed that the second suspect turned himself in earlier today, and he was actually taken to Cooper Green Mercy Hospital to be treated for injuries that he sustained in that accident on Monday night. For now, reporting live in Inslee, Tiffany Westry, CBS 42 News.
Well, we are learning more about the victims of the fatal wreck. It was a young family of 3, their lives cut short by the actions of perfect strangers. Our live team coverage continues now with Mike McClanahan. Mike, the members of this family are no strangers to misfortune.
Ken, people who knew them say their families have dealt with tragedy before. Both Amber Veras and Ryan Colwell lost their mothers. Both leave behind younger siblings. They've now also lost a brother, a sister, and a cherished baby niece.
It's homecoming week, but a dark cloud is hanging over Fairview High School. Amber Veras once walked these halls. Her younger sister still does.
It was really hard to hear today for a lot of our students, a lot of our teachers. So it was a difficult day today.
I was very just heartbroken and shocked, and anytime you lose a student, it's very difficult. It doesn't matter if they're former students, they're already gone from the school. Very dedicated to her family, very loving, and very hardworking. She was a joy to have. She was really sweet, and she and I really bonded.
Guidance counselor Kim Crumbly also has a special bond with the family. She says things were never easy for Amber Veras. Her mother died while she was in high school.
And then she was killed leaving about a half a mile from here. She was killed in a car wreck.
Veras actually stayed with Crumbly for a few days, then took on a new role for her younger siblings.
She had to kind of take that role on as the mom from then on, and to keep her family together. She had a little girl, and according to her family, just the joy of her life.
Hearts are also broken for Ryan Colwell and the couple's daughter, Rogue. She was less than a year old.
He had a caring personality and would do anything to help people out.
And the ones they leave behind, like Colwell's younger brother.
Worry about him because he's still awful young and got to live with all this. And they've already lost their mother, so it's hard on them.
All 3 victims were pronounced dead on the scene last night. We're still waiting to hear about funeral arrangements. Mike McClanahan, CBS 42 News.
Police believe the first victim in this case is a 77-year-old man in Cordova who was robbed. When he refused to hand over his wallet, he was hit in the head with a handgun.
He was bloody and everything, and I called the police. It's one of them deals to where, you just sort of can't believe it's happening in your neighborhood.
Well, I feel fine. Had 4 stitches, but everything's okay.
That would be the start of a deadly chain of events stretching from Dora to Inslee. The first call came in Cordova to police at 7:12 Monday evening, and 4 minutes later, the alert went out to all of Walker County.
And as we now know, this incident did not stay in Walker County. It ended on Birmingport Road and Minor Parkway in Jefferson County. Investigators have spent this day diagramming the crash scene, trying to determine how fast that runaway car was traveling. And of course, they also want to know how and why that car crashed into the vehicle containing the victims.
Well, it's terrible anytime anyone loses their life in this type manner. We want to do the best we can to perform an investigation that's totally and complete, that's going to help out this family, help out this investigation.
Birmingham police wrapped up their investigation earlier tonight. The results are not public yet. Now, high-speed chase is something law enforcement generally tries to avoid because of this very thing, the possibility of causing harm to bystanders.
Now, that threat is not limited to the public, but to officers as well. A 2002 FBI study found on average 1 person is killed each day as a result of police pursuits. 1/3 of those killed are innocent bystanders. The majority of pursuits begin when an officer tries to stop a driver on a traffic violation. Officers are often the victims in these pursuits, claiming the life of 1 officer every 6 weeks. And that means 1 out of every 100 pursuits ends in a fatality.
Birmingham fire investigators want to know what started last night's apartment fire. The flames sent 1 man to the hospital. 2 units on 3rd Avenue North are damaged. It took firefighters about 15 minutes to get things under control. Fire Chief C.W. Martis says the victims' injuries are not life-threatening.
Dozens of dogs seized from a home in Leeds will be euthanized. A judge ruled the animals are not adoptable. 33 dogs, along with 2 Rottweilers, belong to the neighbor of 82-year-old Donald Thomas. The Rottweilers mauled and killed Mr. Thomas last month as he walked to his mailbox. Responding officers shot and killed the 2 attacking dogs. The owner of the dogs has not yet been charged. The case is still under investigation.
She is already serving a life sentence. Now Amy Bishop wants to go to court for another homicide, one that investigators decided not to pursue. Authorities in Massachusetts declined to prosecute the former biology professor for the 1986 death of her brother. Bishop's attorney says that's not the outcome that she had hoped for. They say she wanted to prove the shooting death of Seth Bishop was an accident.
Let's let them sample our yards, and then we'll go from there. And let's not try to beat them up because they're here to help us.
Community leaders in North Birmingham are clearing the path for the Federal Environmental Protection Agency to look long and hard for deadly toxic contamination. As we continue our exclusive Deadly Deception reports, more and more families are lining up for information after the EPA's announcement that they will test more than 1,000 properties. Sonia DiCarlo shows us how the residents in 3 communities near heavy industry are getting an up-close and personal look at what this cleanup will look like.
We don't get a response from that phone call, we will be knocking on your door. That's how important it is. We're not going to try to, beat you down.
Stephanie Brown and Jeff Crowley, EPA Superfund representatives, are digging in their heels to get their message out and get the job done.
This is unprecedented. We're going to be sampling up to 1,283 properties in the 3 communities. And that is pretty much going up and down every single street and getting as many homes sampled as we can.
The emphasis is on access. They need access to properties to test for toxins. Remember, it's more than 1,200 properties.
Read it over, and I do encourage this. Go back there and see if your property is in the database slated to be sampled. But take this access agreement, this sample with you.
This small Fairmont community meeting wasn't short on big concerns.
Arsenic is one of the main killers of people, period. We rate in this area, there's an alarming rate as far as the amount. What have you found thus far to bring you here?
The whole reason we're out here is to determine who's accountable. You know, we see what's in the dirt, we see what's in the air, and then we can actually look around at the industry in the area and see where that came from, and it helps us determine who was responsible.
A message this young, concerned resident says more people need to hear.
And I can only count on my one hand, or maybe two, adults that are my age or younger that are really coming out to see what's going on in their neighborhoods. And it's kind of depressing to see that we're not really taking a stand.
In the Fairmont community of North Birmingham, I'm Sonia DiCarlo, CBS 42 News.
If you'd like to see our complete award-winning investigative reports on the contamination in North Birmingham, go to our website at cbs42.com. Click on Deadly Deception.
Some students in Shelby County won't be back in their regular classrooms until after Christmas. 5 portable buildings now serve as temporary rooms for students at Montevallo Elementary School. Last month, black mold was found in one of the rooms, and that area was closed off. Crews are now working to finish the cleanup and the renovations, but probably won't be done until the end of Christmas break.
We're doing remediation in that whole wing. There are 5 classrooms there, and we're going to move those kids out because there'll be some efforts and construction around those areas outside the classrooms and everything. So we thought it best to bring in portable classrooms in an area there for the next couple of months to make sure we get all that done.
The school board quickly moved to classify the mold as an emergency situation. That will free up money to pay for the cleanup and for the portables.
Now that the rain has moved out, the clouds are clearing and temperatures are plummeting. We're headed towards the 40s tonight. I've got much more about your forecast, including another cool down, which will be even cooler than this one. All that's just ahead.
She was holding on to the front of the bumper, holding on for dear life.
Hit by a car and carried for 11 miles, the miraculous ride of one young puppy's life.
And the Auburn Tigers suit up this week for what they hope will be the start of a much more promising month.
And the youngest drivers get a lesson on staying alive behind the wheel. How CBS 42 is helping get the message out